Hello everybody, Aaron here, and welcome to my video for the last weekend of May 2017. We are now in June and closing in on the final few weeks before my home and native land, Canada, turns 150. So as I mentioned, I had an awesome weekend. I'd like to document it. So on the Saturday, so May 26th, I went to the Rotary Club's ribbon roll. Now, I've been meaning to go to this for several years now. I mean, for just because I like the idea of just vendors selling ribs and a communal charity event taking place at Gage Park, which, for those of you who don't live in Brampton, it's a lovely park in the downtown core of the town that I live in. But I always lived on almost the exact opposite side of Brampton from where I live, from where the festival takes place. Or I was just too anxious or scared to go because I hate crowds. But now that I'm living basically only about 20-30 minute walk away from the place, I decided, why not? Give it a shot. So I went in. There was 3 different entry points to the ribbon roll. There was one on the diagonal entrance into the park itself, and another 2 were placed about 50 meters away on each side. Getting into the ribfest or ribbon roll, the entry fee is a voluntary donation. I didn't really know the protocol on that, but it's basically just stick your donation in the slot. If you're over the age of 19, they give you a yellow wristband, like going to a concert, which I thought was moot because I haven't had a drink in 10 years. So I put in, I think, $5. I got my bracelet and I walked in. The crowd at the very beginning was very sparse because I went at I got there at 1:30 Saturday afternoon. I was just so anxious that this was my first ribbon roll. I effectively just walked laps around Gage Park, stopping only to eat and to say hello to the all of 5 people that I knew and wanted to talk to. My first rib stop was Ardy's. It's a southern barbecue place. It was just north of Kennedy and Queen in Brampton, which isn't all that far from where I live now, but now they're in North Mississauga somewhere. I recall their food fondly. I've eaten there several times in the past. The ribs were near perfect. I wish I'd gotten a full rack just so I could have gotten the cornbread, but whatever. It's a good southern Cajun fusion kind of place. I've been meaning to try their gumbo for years. Hopefully I will have another opportunity soon. Food stop number 2 was, I don't even remember the name of it, but it sold a bloomin' onion. I love bloomin' onions. I got it with a scratch-made chipotle dip, and it was so awesome it made me miss the Outback Steakhouse. I don't even know if Outback is still in Ontario, much less Canada anymore, so I really don't know what to make of that. But yeah, great bloomin' onion. Jack's Backyard had a thing where it was like $6 for a Chipotle taco meal, and was actually quite reasonable. The Chipotle didn't dominate the taco, which I guess is for people who don't like spicy food at all. So up until that point, that was actually my favorite meal. But I'm getting to one that's even better later. The hit, shit, and split of the Ribfest. The hit of ribbon roll was the Master of Ceremonies, Michael Sharp. He's probably the best MC that I've ever seen at any event that I've ever been to. I could tell that he believed every word he spoke every single time he was on the main stage. And he just seemed to have a cheerful demeanor about him that I found quite admirable, because if I were in his role, I'd be stressing out like crazy over every little thing that could have possibly gone wrong with the acts or with the people or with the organization of the event or the vendors or whatever. The one drawback, well, the biggest drawback is Lone Star, Montana's, and Swiss Chalet, places known for ribs, weren't there. I could kind of understand Swiss Chalet because they're kind of a Canadian institution, and Montana's is getting there, but like Lone Star could have set up a fajita and rib thing and they could have made mad bank over the weekend. The split. This is the thing that I'm kind of mixed on. The prices for everything are sky high. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's all for a good cause and all for children's charities and to maintain the costs of the vendors being there. So, yay. So I'm kind of mixed on that one. I would definitely go again if my schedule and anxiety permit it. So I was extremely impressed. I would actually give it a 4.25 out of 5. Like it was like an 8.5 out of 10. Like it was great. By no means perfect, but it was definitely a very solid half day of fun for me. But my main reason for going to Rib and Roll was not actually for the food. It was for Elyse Saunders. Yeah, everyone, for those of you who know my musical tastes, I actually went country for the day. It's not that I don't like country. I like the early and later periods of Johnny Cash, and I like Terry Reid and a smattering of others. I'm aware enough of country music to know what's going on. It's just not a lot of it is something that I can personally relate to. That's really all it is. Elyse Saunders was from Peterborough, Ontario. I think she lives in Toronto now. If I'm wrong on that, Elyse, I'm sorry. She just kept coming up to my attention over the last 3.5 years. Pretty much ever since I added Amanda Williams, a mutual friend of ours, to my Facebook 2 years after I met her. Amusingly enough, Elyse arrived before the rest of her band, and I was petrified. Yeah, old song reference, fully intended. I'm not going to sing because my throat's kind of parched. Yeah, everybody, I'm operating on a script, and Elyse took up 2 pages. Yeah, I was terrified of meeting her. I waited until she had finished talking to Michael Sharp about something. I don't even know what it was. I wasn't paying attention. I try not to eavesdrop. But she was extremely disarming and sweet, aware that I was, well, scared shitless of meeting her. Pardon the language, guys. Her set was pretty much perfect. It lowered my nervousness to the point where I took off my sunglasses. It didn't completely alleviate things because by the time she got on stage, there was probably a good 1,000 people there. I don't know the exact attendance count. It's really none of my business. I might ask the Rib and Roll later on after this video is uploaded. I might not. Normally I'm so analytical of what I'm watching at concerts. I try to organize a set list in my head. Here I purposely didn't. That said, I did have 2 me moments during her set. During one of her songs, she had a capo on the second fret of her acoustic guitar. For those of you who don't play guitar, a capo is an attachment you can put onto your guitar so that you can put it, depending on where you put it on the guitar, you can actually play in a key that is higher than standard tuning. Standard tuning is to the key of E. She had it on the second fret, which would put it in F sharp. F sharp is actually standard tuning for an 8-string guitar. So the right half of my brain actually asked, why can't Elyse just play an 8-string guitar instead of putting a capo on a 6-string guitar? And the left half of my brain answered, because she's country and not technical death metal. Then on another song, she actually got the capo all the way up to the 6th fret, which would put the key in B minor, and I asked, well, why can't she just play a 7-string tune down half a step, because a 7 strings to B, tuning it down half a step would then be to B minor, and same answer, she's country, not technical death metal. There's different genres, different attributes. I bought her whole catalog, which is 2 albums as of right now. Waited her for sign 1 of them. I got an Oreo funnel cake and bailed because that was about all I could handle that day. Okay, the hit, shits, and splits of Elyse Saunders. Hit of Elyse's set was turning a lack of horns section on her cover of Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire into an audience participation segment. Ring of Fire is one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs. In fact, that's kind of my go-to wing of choice whenever I eat at Wild Wing. It's the hottest one that they've got. And sometimes I need to cry. The shit of Elyse's set, there's one drawback, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Elyse, if you're watching, too many covers. Your own material was strong enough to stand on its own. It should have been more of you and less of you playing other people. There's nothing wrong with playing covers. I just think you're better than that. The split of Elyse's set. Her voice was perfectly mixed to the soundboard, but I found that the acoustic guitar was too low. The other instruments, particularly the rhythm section, were a bit too dominant in the songs where she broke out the acoustic guitar. I've heard her play via YouTube. She's a great player, so it should have been more up in the mix. But I'm biased, so yeah, Elyse, you get a 9. Yay. Okay, so that's it for my Saturday, and on to page 3 of my script, on to my Sunday. So recently, a new laser tag mini golf place opened about a 10-minute drive away from my place, and anybody who knows me knows I used to love laser tag and mini golf as a kid, and sometimes one just needs to indulge their inner 12-year-old. So I went with my friends Doug and Mike to GlowZone360. It's in Brenton, about the corner of Williams and McLaughlin. They have a deal going on where for $15 you get 18 holes of mini golf, I think a 20-minute game of laser tag, and a rechargeable arcade card with $5 loaded on it for you. Due to the timing of it all, we did the mini golf first, and when we were done the mini golf, we'd actually missed a laser tag game by about 2 minutes, so they were just like, just hang out in the arcade until the next game is up. So we went mini golf, then the arcade, then laser tag. I won the mini golf, but Doug and Mike each got a hole in one. Like, I was just consistently either parring, birdieing, or bogeying to a point where I finished a 2 over. I found enough arcade stuff to not be bored. For those of you who don't know, I'm not much of a video gamer. I'm more of a board and card gamer. I placed 7th out of maybe 20-25 kids at laser tag. Doug and Mike won 4th and 5th. Hits, shits, and splits of GlowZone360. The hits. The mini golf was a perfect course. There was some hard holes. There was some easy holes. It was a great mix. They nicely used black light across the entire course. There wasn't anything overly insane. I mean, there was a couple of pretty tricky holes, but there was no uber easy ones either, except for maybe the last one, and the last one's an uphill slope 18, which almost every mini golf course in North America has. No dry ice in laser tag. One of the things I hated about Laser Quest when I was a kid was the dry ice fog really got to my eyes, to a point where I think I had to take allergy medication a couple of times if I played more than one game. And as I said, there was not enough arcade stuff. There was enough arcade stuff to not bore me. Okay, the shits. The Marshal at Laser Quest should not have been allowed to play. I prefer it when the Marshals at Laser Quests or laser tag facilities are just there to watch to make sure the kids don't kill themselves or break the rules. I'm not sure if this facility has specialty games. One thing Laser Quest did have were they could rig the programming of the game scenario to handicap or benefit certain players, or lengthen the game, or shorten the game, or lengthen or shorten the time you're dead. Omit the entire ground floor. You have to stay purely in the upper parts. There's like one ramp in in GlowZone's course, so I don't really think Eagle's Nest rules could even work. And like Perplexity escape rooms, they've kind of maxed out their space, I think. I think if they wanted to expand the facility, they'd either have to buy another facility or buy their neighbor and knock the wall down. Splits. None. And when it gets closer to the date that they're valid, I'll buy the summer pass, which $40 is unlimited golf and laser tag. So yeah, I'm definitely going to buy that. So yeah, I'd give that about an 8.5 as well. So it was a great weekend. I'm glad to have documented it in this way. Thank you, Elyse Saunders. Thanks to Doug Droog and Mike Smith. So until next time, I'm Aaron, and unlike Storage Wars, my show's scripted. Thanks a lot.